let him put his nose on it. You see he's got all those little hairs on their nose. Those actually have neurons in them and they collect data. So he's not just sniffing it, but he's touching it, feeling it. That's how they make sure something's not dangerous. The first thing they do is put their nose or muzzle on it just to familiarize themselves with it. Once they're familiar with it, then you can move on to the next part. Like I say, it's only a second saddle, so I want to make sure he's comfortable with it. I'm not throwing on his back when he's still afraid of the object. Yeah, this is why I like to leave him loose sometimes, so you get an idea of what makes him uncomfortable. So when I crossed his center line, he got a little uncomfortable. So let him kind of deal with that for a second before we move on. This is how you develop a willing partner. Like I say, he has to feel like he has some say in it. So if he's not comfortable with it, I'm not going to push him into it. I'm going to let him kind of tell me when he's ready to move on. I think the more you do this at the beginning, then as you ask for more and more, they have a tendency to kind of go along with you instead of fight every little thing. So now you see he has a change of disposition, so then we'll move on. So when I saddle them, even at the beginning, but even all my saddle horses, I try to saddle them in 3 different phases where I'll get it on there and snug, and then I'll let them kind of feel that for a while. Then I'll tighten it up, walk them around a little bit, and then do the final cinching after he's had a chance to kind of breathe and move his feet around a little bit. You can tell he's not super comfortable with it, so I'm going to give him some time to process before we tighten it up again. It's a new feeling. Like I say, he's not spooking or jumping around or anything, and the flies are bothering him a little bit, but like I said, I just want to make sure that he's comfortable before we move on. If we can do that at this age, then when it's time to get on them, you know, a lot of those things are not even part of the equation anymore. It just becomes a normal part of the interaction. This little guy's really gotten to like affection, so when he does start feeling a certain way, I think he likes that reassurance when you put your hands on him and scratch him and rub on him. Now I'll check, and now I'm going to do the second tightening. Just get it a little tighter, make sure it's snug, it's not going to fall off. Let him kind of feel that. Sit with it a bit. And we're going to start his games. Consistency is important, so we do these games over and over and over. Make sure he's okay. Rope. It's different now with that saddle on him because it'll make a different noise when it goes over his back. Let's see if he's pretty okay with it. In case rope ever gets around his leg, you want to make sure he's not going to freak out. Over his neck. Something off of him, so we'll get him used to rope twirling over here, put one over there. So he's okay with that. Be a confident little guy. Because he does something on the right side doesn't mean he'll do it on the left side. So gotta make sure it's comfortable on both sides. Horses, just like us, are bilateral beings, so we have one good side and one poor side most of the time. We want to make sure that we introduce things to both sides. Is there any discomfort? Give him a chance to figure that out now. Maybe something happened one day. Things speed up. Want him to be okay with it. So there's a difference between just whopping something where he's not afraid of that rope and the actual intention of getting to move his feet. So I can use that same motion and intend for him to move and get him moving. Get moving, and that doesn't mean anything scary. But I can get him moving with the rope as well. But a lot of that has to do with body posture and the intention that we're pushing towards the horse. So we want the rope to be neutral. Not something scary, but not, you still have to listen to it too. Now we're going to use the flag to do the same thing to make sure that he doesn't have any spooky spots. Maybe we'll hold it over his eyes. Let him know it's okay if he can't see. His ears, sensitive spots. Rub him with it. It's a good job. Again, we want to make it a neutral object, because in case one day there's a feed bag or something goes by his feet, we don't want him freaking out. Maybe you're riding him through some brush and it brushes his belly or grabs his tail. We don't want him freaking out. So when I want him to be more energetic, then I pick my energy up. So I go from here with the signal on the ground, and then I'll ask him for the next thing. I'll ask him to trot. More energy, more speed. Again, I'm going to ask him with the lowest amount of energy. I'm not going to get to whacking on him. And if he doesn't do it, then I just ask with more intensity till he does it. Did great. So now I'm going to give him what he wants. He wants that feeling of safety, so I let him come in. Get him up a little bit. Good job, buddy. Again. I'm just using this as a barrier because he feels comfortable around me. I want him just as comfortable outside of the circle. There he goes. So we have to make him feel connected to us even though we're not right next to each other. I do that by watching his body posture. His ear is towards me. He keeps coming into the circle, so I'm kind of keep pushing him out. Now we're going to give him even more energy, see if we can get him up to a low. Here we go. Ready, bud? Good job. Good job. Walk. Change directions. Come on. Change directions. Good boy. Trot. Give it a shot. Going in the other direction. Come on. Give him more energy. pressure to do that. Give him a rub, let him know you did good. That's part of getting him ready to the point when we want to ride him. We want to be able to take his energy up, but keep his mind calm. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to get him to make movements that he's going to have to make when we start working with him, working cattle, doing different things. One of the first things we have to do is get him to disengage his hindquarters. So I want to get him to move his rear end around his front end. A simple way of looking at it is the front end is kind of like the steering wheel, the back end is kind of like the motor. So if anything ever happens where he gets afraid and he wants to run off, we want to be able to disengage the motor. And not only that, there's times where we have to do that in order to pursue if we're chasing cattle or something like that. So I'm going to pick a point where I would put my foot and give him a signal. So I'm going to point there first, again starting with the lowest amount of pressure possible. No touch, to touching the surface, to now, and the whole time I'm intending for him to step off with this foot and follow with that foot. So I point, I touch, the whole time I'm asking, and now I start increasing pressure rhythmically. A rhythmic increase of pressure. And I'm just barely pushing on it. And he steps and I release immediately. I don't pursue him. I ask again, and he goes right on touch. Now I'm going to ask him one more time just to make sure that the communication is solid, and he goes again right when my tool is touching his hair. Now we're going to reward that behavior. So again, we want him to know that I can touch this and not ask to step off, that stepping has to be an intentional act. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to do the same thing. It's a little bit more complicated, but now we're going to try to get his front feet to step around his rear feet. So keeping this still, as still as possible, as a pivot point, and then having him circle his front feet around. So I'm just going to use this as a barrier. Again, I'm going to intend, I go close, I touch, and then and he does it, so I release. Perfect, just like that. So now I'm going to ask him for maybe a couple more steps. Touch. There's one. There's two. And three. Good. And we don't want him to step forward. Right there. Perfect. And I reward him by releasing the pressure. Again, I want to be able to touch him here without intending him to move off. There's a difference. The next thing we do is now I'm going to pick 2 points to get him to step his rear foot and his front foot so he walks sideways. So about where my foot would be and about where the rein would be, I'm just going to ask, light touch, step sideways. Not perfect, but for his age, that's pretty darn good. Again, we're going to rub those spots to make sure you know the difference between touch and ask. Go to the other side. I'm going to focus here just and imagine in my head like I'm pressing with a spur. And the intention alone, that time was enough, so I don't even touch him. If I intend and he does it, that's enough pressure. And then I release the pressure. So I'm going to do it again. So I don't know if you saw it that time, but I'm going to hold him up here. I'm going to intend with my body, with my gut, with my mind. I'm going to point at that place with that intention to step off. That time he hasn't done it, so then I touch. And it feels like he's going to go. So I'm going to just slight increases of pressure, just slight increases of pressure. Keep that intention. He steps off, I release. I rub him, make sure he knows he did a good job. I intend again. Slight increases of pressure. Slight increases of pressure. He steps off. We're going to keep him going, and we're going to release. Very, very good job. Again, we're going to come back to the neck. The hard part with this, what we have to make sure that he's doing is stepping across with this foot. We don't want him to take this foot and step behind. They get their feet crossed and it's really hard to take the next step. So we're going to intend, get his shoulders moving. Increase pressure, release, again, touch, increase pressure. He doesn't want to step, so we're just going to rhythmically have a little bit of pressure going in, and I release, and now we're going to try to get a couple steps. One, good, two. Oh, he's stepping on his foot. So when they do that, what I try to do is to remind them that this foot has to place in front. So I'll help them with my foot, just like that. And as it wants to, he does it. Good job. Give him a second. So, just like human beings, left-handed, right-handed, we all have a good side and a poor side. And so we saw how easy it was to get him to do it on that side, and this side it was a little more difficult. So, patience, consistency, and giving him time to get comfortable with it is the key. So try not to push him, try not to be too critical. Now, again, we're going to try to make him walk sideways. So we're going to put our hand here, tool here. We're going to intend. So he doesn't feel like he's about to move yet, so then we're going to just increase pressure rhythmically. Increase pressure rhythmically. Front end wet, we want the back end to go as well. There you go. Good job. We're going to release the pressure. Very good. Very good. The other thing we want him to be able to do is come to us or back up on command. So we also want them to back up and come to us on command. So I'm going to start with the slightest amount of pressure. So slightest amount of pressure is my intention, and then my hand signals to back up, and I'm going to ask him to back. So I'm going to tell him, back, 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 rhythmically. He did it on simply that. I didn't have to apply any physical pressure, so I reward him by taking the pressure off. So I'm going to do it again. I'm going to ask him to back up. So he's going the wrong way. I hold him with my hand, and I ask him to back, 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 back. Well, he's not going this time, so now I'm going to have to increase pressure. So I'm going to use my lead rope. I'm going to ask him back. He doesn't, so I'm just going to start jiggling my lead rope until he does. Now, it didn't start off that way. Initially, when he didn't understand that's what I was asking him to do, there was times I actually had to take the lead rope here and work it back and forth and apply backward pressure until he stepped back. And then he connected that with this pressure here, and then he connected that with the pressure of the hands. Back, 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 just like that. And now I want him, he knows what's coming next. So now I want him to come towards me. So maybe he's holding a rope tight, and I want him to release the pressure on that rope. So I'll ask him to come towards me. Hold on. Back. Go on. Back. Hey. You want him straight. Going off at an angle. Back. 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 There you go. Back. Good. Good boy. Cool. Okay. Now when I want him to come towards me, I'll put my hand on the rope and I just slide it without pressure, and I'll slap my leg. Good. Now, when he was learning, he didn't understand that command, I would do the same thing. I would slide my hand, I would pull, and slap my leg. But now I don't have to put the pressure, the physical pressure on. All I have to do is ask him to come towards me. Here, come in. We'll reward him for being a good boy. So the next thing we're going to do, horses, almost all horses are naturally a little bit claustrophobic, or a lot of it sometimes. They don't like being closed in. So the last exercise we're going to do is we're going to ask him to walk between us and a fixed point, so he has to kind of face that natural phobia of being closed in. So I'm going to get near the fence, and I'm going to ask him to walk in between me and the fence. Again, right now he's at a phase where he finds his security next to me, so I'm going to have to block him and ask him to walk. Come on. Good boy. I'm going to block him because he's looking for security next to me. I want him to be secure in other places as well. You can see that this starts to encourage some anxiety, which is fine. Let him deal with it. Come on, buddy. Very good. Keep going. There you go. So you'll notice that he got real tight on me and didn't want to get next to the fence. So as we keep doing this, I want him to be comfortable stepping closer and closer to the fence. This is it really helps on getting them loaded in a trailer and stuff, because when they feel confined, that feeling of anxiety pops up. So we want to keep, every time we do this drill, I want him to find the middle of this alley, and I'm going to step a little bit closer every time we do it. Here we go. Come on, buddy. So again, he's really hugging tight on me, so I'm going to try to step him away, step him off, and get him going. And you notice I'm not whacking on him or anything, but I'm just holding a boundary. I'm just holding a strong physical boundary. He's not even touching my tool. He's walking real close to it, but that boundary, we want him to get more and more comfortable feeling safe by himself, so he doesn't have to be on top of me in order to feel safe. Come on. Good boy. Good. Good. Very good. I'm going to send him away. Good. Stay out there. Stay out there. Very good. Excellent. And then the last one is going to be very close, so he gets comfortable. Go ahead. Go ahead. You got a little goosey there, huh, buddy? It's okay. Let's try it one more time. So we want to send him away because I don't want him, that could be dangerous as he gets older and bigger. I want him to be comfortable on his own, just like that. Perfect. Good job. Good job. Okay, so this last thing that we're going to do, or second to the last thing, is when we start riding our horses, a lot of times they're not used to seeing stuff up here. So everything will be going good, they'll move their head in a certain way, and they'll catch a glimpse of something up above them, and that's what gets them to panic, buck, try to run off. And so early on, what we want to start doing is putting things up here, and then just asking him to do things to make sure that he's not going to be upset by something being above his head. All right, so again, we're going to drive him around a little bit and let him see how he does with the stimulus above his head. Sometimes it can bother horses, so we're just going to ask him to do some real simple maneuvers and make sure that he's okay with having something moving around above his head. Let's trot it up, buddy. Alright, now the last thing here, we just want to make sure he's connected with us. Come on, buddy. Come on. Come on. Good boy. Good boy, come on. Let's go. Come on, buddy. There you go.